guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about, do you need specialty medical coding certifications? If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, so I got a really good comment and I'm going to read this comment here in a minute, but I will start off by saying this first. On my channel, I will always advocate for 4 medical coding credentials only, right? When it comes to the medical coding credentials. I'm not talking about the degree designations, the RHIA or the RHIT, because that is something completely different. I am talking about medical coding certifications. With the American Health Information Management Association, there is the CCS, the CCA, and the CCSP. These 3 I recommend. All you need is 1. With AAPC, they do have their flagship credential, which is the CPC, the Certified Professional Coder, and that is the only credential that I do recommend. I also recommend the CIC or the Certified Inpatient Coder because that has nothing to do with the CPC. It's 2 completely different things, okay? They're both different. So that out of the way, I am talking about the specialty certifications that you may have seen out there. Like there's a credential for ER, and there's a credential for E&M coding, and there's a credential for OBGYN. These are unnecessary additional credentials. This is more money that you as the student or the individual have to put out in order to maintain these certifications. And if you are really interested in getting one of these specialty certifications because you want to show that you're specialized and you still have no experience, this will not help you to get a job faster. What will help you to get a job faster is by getting a really good resume out there, being very proactive, applying for positions that are not just in medical coding, but medical billing or something that's going to be relatable to get you in there and get you that experience. Prior authorizations is another position that you can get into. Risk adjustment is another one that you can try to get into. But a lot of people will run into that brick wall of everybody wants experience and they don't apply for those positions that do require experience. You should go ahead and apply anyway, because if you have a really good resume and if you tell the employer about your training, because you don't have to have experience in order to say you've been trained on these things, as long as you put down your experience, that employer may be so desperate that they need to hire somebody. So if you can pass an entrance test, then you have a higher chance of getting hired on versus somebody who sees that they want 3 to 5 years and gets scared off and they don't want to apply. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read this comment and then we're going to get into it. So here we go. So the comment says, "Hi Blue, I have a background as an ultrasound and vascular tech. I just graduated in May with a certificate degree in coding. I am looking to eventually specialize in cardiovascular or radiology. With that in mind, would I be better off getting my certification with AHIMA or AAPC? I truly appreciate any direction you can give. Love your channel." Okay, so here's the thing. When it comes to which one should you go with, these are both the American Health Information Management Association and the American Academy of Professional Coders are both known worldwide, and they are the most respected 2 powerhouses in the industry. Okay, so if you get certified through AHIMA, that's totally fine. If you get certified through AAPC, that is totally fine. But keep in mind, AAPC does require you to be a member of their association every year that you hold the certification. Okay, AHIMA does not. The American Health Information Management Association has 2 separate fees for those that are members and those that are non-members, okay, when it comes to renewing your certification, all right? Because you will have to pay when you are reporting your continuing education units, all right? So there is a separate fee for both of those when it comes to AHIMA. So that is something that you do need to think about. Now, I will say this also, and just a little side note, and I will do an episode about this separately, but the individual said that they had graduated in May with a certificate degree in medical coding. This is just it's a certificate. It's not a credential. You still have to sit for your medical coding certification because employers do look for those. But if it's May and we're already in August and we're creeping up on September, that's quite a bit of months ago now gone, all right? When you are in school, you should be already knowing which certification you're going to be sitting for after you get done with your program. The longer you are out of your program, the more you're going to forget the material, okay? So that's something that you got to really keep in mind. And I will go into this on another episode. But the good rule of thumb is no more than 90 days outside of when you graduated, okay? Because if you go any longer than that, you're going to start to forget, you're going to overthink, and then that overthinking can lead to not taking the exam at all. So that is something that you want to avoid. You want to take the exam, and you don't want to get to a point where you're second guessing and then now you're forgetting and you haven't done it, and because you're not in school and you haven't been practicing, that information can really just fall away. So no more than 90 days is my recommendation there. But when it comes to the specialty, she wants to get into specialty, and she wants to specifically work in a cardiovascular or radiology or whatever. You can apply for those positions with just a medical coding certification, CCS, CCA, CCSP, or the CPC, any one of those. And you're still going to run into the problem of not having any experience. So it really makes no sense to go and get these additional credentials and make your name look longer. It does not get you hired faster, and it does not mean that you know more, okay? It just means that you can pass a test. That's all it essentially means, all right? So it's a lot for new medical coders to already get in with as far as like all the continuing education that you have to do. Do not make it more stressful on yourselves, folks. Stick with one certification. Again, going through one of the powerhouses, AHIMA or AAPC, getting one certification, because you should not be forced to get more than one certification and you don't have any experience. A few weeks ago, there was a viewer who said that they have 4 medical coding certifications and still cannot find a job. And they don't know how they're going to be able to maintain their continuing education units for all of those credentials, because it goes up the more credentials that you have. So do not fall down this path, folks. I can only say so much, and a lot of what I say, it goes against the grain of what a lot of people are trying to put out there. I am not a school, so I do not have a program to promote. And so I'm not here to sell you anything. Again, I will say this. I do not have a program to sell. So I am not going to try to push additional credentials on people. That's what people who are selling programs do. They try to sell, and upsell these credentials. And while making sure that you get additional education is really great, you don't have to have credentials for every single class that you do. Risk adjustment is unnecessary. The certified professional biller, again, unnecessary, because you're already tested on these components when you take your medical coding certification, CCS, CCA, CCSP, or the CPC. So they all test on reimbursement. They all test on diagnosis coding, which is what risk adjustment is. So that's something that you really have to look at when you're getting into these additional programs. And just because you take a class, it does not mean that you immediately have to go and take and sit for another certification. That's always another option as well. Additional education is great. It is always going to be great. But you don't have to line the pockets of all these people who are selling these programs, okay? So I'm just putting that out there. And as a veteran medical coder, it is very hard for me to see people being taken advantage of, and because they don't know better, and they don't know that they don't need all of these medical coding certifications, these additional specialty ones, when just the one can get them in and serve them well. For 13 years, I had the CCA, the Certified Coding Associate. And that is the entry level, is considered entry level credential with AHIMA. And a lot of people say, oh, you can't get a job with it. Really? Because I got 4. And not only that, I got progressively paid a lot more with every single job that I went to. Now, we don't give specific numbers on my channel when it comes to salary because every place is different. But I was able to do a lot with my CCA. I did not run into anything that I could not do with it, okay? Because it tests you on everything, inpatient and outpatient. And it says that you are competent. And as long as you continue to study, having one certification, and people do it all the time, they have one certification and they have wonderful, very lucrative careers with just one certification. Having multiple credentials does not guarantee you more money. It does not guarantee you a job. All it says is that you have more credentials on your name. And even people who have a lot of credentials, it does not mean they know how to code fluently. I have seen that. Unfortunately, people get taken advantage of. They have a whole line of credentials, and then when they get with me, they're like, well, I don't know this and I don't know that, but you have credentials that say otherwise. Okay, so be very responsible with adding on additional credentials. If you want to add on additional credentials later on, maybe there's something else that you want to pursue, like a tumor registrar, then yes, that is something that I can recommend because I have seen that requested a lot. There are some facilities that do require that specific credential, and that's okay. I mean, to me, if you want to go for something like that, that's all right, because that's really more specialized into that. And so that's where that's okay. But again, if you just want to just get a whole bunch of credentials because you think it's going to make you more money or that you're going to get hired faster, I'm sorry to tell you that you are wrong. Okay, so you can do it with one certification. That's all you need. You need a really good resume that lists all of your skills. And as far as your skills, your hard skills, not that you're a team player, not that you're organized, not any of those things, not that you have a friendly personality and that you have a smiling face. I saw that on somebody's resume on LinkedIn. Don't do it, guys. Those are not hard skills. What are your hard skills? That is ICD-10-CM, and make sure that you put ICD-10-CM. If you do not, if you put ICD-10, if I'm a hiring manager, your resume is immediately rejected because you weren't specific enough. ICD-10-CM and ICD-10-PCS are 2 completely different things, and I will not assume that you know one over the other, or that you know both. So be very specific. Do not put ICD-10-CM/PCS. Again, it's laziness when I see that, okay? Make them 2 separate lines because they're 2 separate things. One is diagnosis and one is procedures, okay? So again, it's all about the detail. All of your ICD-10-CM, ICD-10-PCS, if you know that, CPT, HCPCS, those are your hard skills. Do you also know medical terminology and anatomy and pathophysiology? You need to put those on there. If you know Microsoft Office Suite, Microsoft Office, Word, Outlook, Excel, and PowerPoint, do you know those? They need to be on there, okay? So those are some of the things that employers are looking for, because you can look in the job listings and you will see candidate must be proficient in medical terminology, anatomy, and pathophysiology. And sometimes they'll say, well, it's a plus if the candidate has gone through a college program for anatomy and physiology, because it is very important to understand and know the body. You cannot accurately look up codes, diagnosis, or procedures if you do not understand the body and what is happening with the body. I'm just saying. So make sure that you've prepared yourself. Make sure that your resume is no more than 2 pages, okay? So if you can squeeze it onto 1 page, that's fine. If you can go to 2, that's okay too. Don't go back no more than 15 years, okay? 10 to 15 years is totally fine. If you've been working since the 90s, they don't need to know this. They need to know for the last 10 or 15 years, what have you been doing? Because that's as far back as they're going to run, all right? And that's going to be on your resume. Do not repeat yourself. If you've had the same type of job, do not copy and paste the same jobs that you did, even though maybe you did the same types of jobs. You need to think of all of the other things that you did with that particular position, okay? Because again, these employers are looking at these resumes, and the better the resume looks, the more your chances of getting a call back are going to be, right? And if you don't want to write your own resume, there's a ton of resume writers on LinkedIn. I'm a resume writer myself. My rate is in the description box below. So if you're interested in that, you know, by all means, reach out and contact me and we can get that going. But it's about taking responsibility, guys, and not trying to get off the subject too much. But I just don't want to see people being taken advantage of. And I use my own platform here on YouTube to tell you guys the truth. And sometimes it's not what people want to hear. They don't like what I say. There's nothing that I can do about that. But it is about protecting you all, as far as like, I don't want y'all to be taken advantage of, having to have all of these credentials when you can just start with the one and be okay with that, okay? Don't get oversold all of these things, because it's not worth it. Get into the field. Know if you even like the field before you continue to invest in it, because it's already going to take your time, it's going to take your energy, and it will take your money, okay? But be careful and choose wisely. And to this viewer, I say all you need is a one credential. Let your resume be your sounding board. Let your resume show your experience that you've had with vascular and ultrasound tech, all your radiology background. Let that show on there. So when you're looking at the resume, when the manager's looking at the resume, they can see, okay, well, this person is really proficient in vascular. You know, she would be a good fit for our cardio team. You know, that's something that, okay, that's something that we can look at there, because you just have the one certification. So don't wait too long to take your certification exam, okay? Because you start forgetting all that stuff, you're going to lose your speed. So make sure that you do that. All right, guys? So again, I'll be getting into some of the things that I talked about in this video later this week. But like I said, keep studying, study hard. Be very aware and conscious of what you're doing and what you're taking on. You only need one certification to start, and that's all. Wait 2 years, and I will say that again, wait 2 years before you start adding on additional credentials. So at least this way, you'll be in the field, you'll know, you'll understand what's actually happening, instead of being one of the ones that has all the credentials and they don't really know what to do with them. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, I hope that you will like it. Subscribe, share if it helped you, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.